my heart. You are to me, because I love me some Stevie Nicks. You are
Oh,
to me like the Stevie Nicks of YA and paranormal and fantasy romance.
that is such a great compliment. And look what I have on. I have on like a Stevie Nicks kind of top too.
Oh my God, you're the white witch. You're the white witch, like we call Stevie Nicks. Like for real, for real. Like I've been reading
Cool.
your books like forever since the House of Night. Actually, since Divine. What
Divine
was
by
it?
mistake? No
Yeah,
way.
I have been reading you for a long, long
Oh my God,
time.
you read the Centaur books?
I've read damn near everything that you've ever put out.
I'm telling you, Clan Fenton is probably my favorite hero of all heroes.
Oh my God.
A
Okay,
horse and a man.
I
Come
love
on.
that. I love that. I love that for us.
Right, me too. When
Okay.
when it was first out, when Divine by Mistake was first published, it was first published by a small press, small local press in Oklahoma, and it was a horrible experience.
Oh.
Yeah, but that's fine. That was my very first book published. I got $250
Oh wow.
as
But
an
did you
advance.
change the name to like
Oh, I had to change the name from
Goddess
Goddess by
by
Mistake.
mistake or
Yeah,
something?
it was Goddess by Mistake at first, and I had to change it to Divine by Mistake because between that publication and the first time I was published by the Big Five, Berkeley, my Goddess Summoning books, they wanted to call them Goddess of. The first one was Goddess of the Sea. And I had this other book out with a small press, and Berkeley was like, no, if you're going to republish that, we don't want, because I got the rights back, we don't want you to put Goddess of in anything else. So I had to change it to Divine by. So,
Oh
but
wow.
when I first had Divine by Mistake published as Goddess by Mistake,
Mhm.
okay, the editor for the small press was horrible, awful, worst editor I've ever had. Not really an editor. It was some man, first of all,
Yeah.
some mediocre white man who could not get published himself. Okay. So he was being an editor. He was so horrible to me. Do you remember the scene where Clan Fenton can't shapeshift to be a human? And
Yeah.
he gallops around in the circle and brings Shannon to orgasm. Remember that scene? This asshole man wrote in the editorial comments, because then back then we were still writing on manuscripts, right?
Yeah.
He literally wrote on the side, cut this scene, no one cares about her orgasm. And I replied, scene stays in, and that's why you're single.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
They also wanted me to take all the cussing out, and I refused to.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So how it goes with me, I do your intro and then we go into questions. Cool
Okay.
with that?
Ooh, that's great.
All
I'm
right.
ready.
Welcome to Black Girl Tired Book Talk podcast. You're God, I can't even get my words right because I'm such a You've been a powerhouse in romance, fantasy, and paranormal storytelling for a while. You have a longevity that is beautiful.
25 years.
My God.
Yep.
Your writing has created whole worlds that readers get lost in, and many call you a trailblazer. I am one in the
Oh,
genre. I like to call you the Stevie Nicks of romance because you take us into the mystical, the romantic, and unseen places of the heart.
thank you. That's such a compliment.
You're so welcome. It's so deserving. It's so deserving. So let's talk about your writing journey. Like, what was the pivot point in your life that pulled you into fully into writing?
It started very early. In first grade, I
Mhm.
literally wrote my first book in first grade. It was called Blubby the Blue Whale. It did not get published yet. And it was about a girl who was very familiar to me, a first grader who rode this blue whale in the sky all over the world. That's all I can remember about it. And when I finally got published, my first grade teacher actually remembered, because I didn't get published till I was like 40. My first grade teacher actually remembered me and said, I knew she was going to get published. But I've always wanted to be an author and a teacher. And I taught high school for 15 years. And during my 15 years of teaching, I, for the first part of that, so I have something in my eye. I'm like, for the first 15 years, during my teaching, I married my very last husband. And, that was 25 years ago. Well, I left him 25 years ago. This man actually, okay, wait. So I needed to get away from this man. And I had been a single parent. Kristen was like, I think she was 8 when I married him, maybe a little bit older, because I left him. She had to have been about 9, because I left him 5 years later or so, and she was just getting ready to turn 16. But I have been a very broke Oklahoma school teacher. I've been in the Air Force first, and then put myself through college I started college when Kristen was 2, and I was like 10, 15 years older than everyone else in college. And then I married this man, and it was not a good marriage, and I really needed to get away from him, and I really was tired of struggling to support a child on Oklahoma public school teacher salary. So what I did was I started my master's degree, and I started writing Goddess by Mistake, Divine by Mistake, my first book, my first manuscript, at the same time. And I decided whichever went first, that's where I would focus on. If Divine by Mistake hadn't been published, I would have finished my master's and moved up. I was already teaching as an adjunct at Tulsa Community College. And I was going to work to be full-time faculty there, and probably also maybe go to TU, University of Tulsa, or OSU, Oklahoma State University in Tulsa. I was going to move to a college level, but I got published first. And that's so I quit my master's. I dropped out of university. And just focused on my writing then, and was able to leave him within a year of me getting published.
Wow. Look.
Oh, I didn't have enough money. I didn't have any money. My first, I told you that my first advance was $250. My second advance, which was the first, and I will speak very openly about this, because I think that authors are empowered, especially women are empowered when we share this knowledge with each other. My first Big 5 contract was with Berkeley for my Goddess Summoning books. And for the first 3 of those, I got $5,000 a piece for those books. And I had just signed that contract when I left him. So I didn't, and in order to keep him from getting any royalties from any of my books that I created while I was living with him, while we were married, even though he was the biggest stumbling block in my career, didn't want me to write, of course. He even said that I needed to choose between my career as an author and my marriage. Bye. But he threatened to come after my royalties if I didn't take on a tax burden for him. So back then, when I was making $32,000 a year as a public school teacher and barely making anything as an author yet, I believed my divorce attorney said to me, do you believe in yourself enough to take on this tax burden that you're going to have a very hard time paying for? Or do you just want to give in and give him the rights to any of your future royalties if you have any? I said, no, I believe in myself. Fuck him. So I took on his tax debt, which was really difficult for me to pay off on a public school teacher's salary. But I took it on, paid it off, and he lost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I swear. First, I want to say thank you for your service. I am a veteran myself. I was in the Marines and Army.
Ooh, thank you for your service. Ooh, that's a tough haul there for a woman. Marines and Army. I was Air Force. So that's the bougier part of the service.
And I do Our situation is kind of similar because I was married in the Marines in the Army, and he was a douchebag, and I was basically a
Mine
single
was a
mother.
fighter pilot douchebag.
Uh,
Ugh.
Mine just didn't like the fact I was more had more rank than him.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
with that male ego shit.
Fragile.
As
Fragile as glass, man. Ugh.
as hell. So let me ask you. I've always wanted to ask you this: when you were building a PC cast world with Kristen, and y'all really sit down and get into it, whether it's romance, fantasy, or paranormal, whatever it is, what makes it uniquely yours? Because there is no one I've ever seen break like y'all.
Well, Kristen didn't do any writing, actual writing with me until after House of Night. The books that she was my teen voice editor. For House of Night, she was my teen voice editor for all the original books. And then the Otherworld books, Love, Lost, Forgotten, and Found, she was like my main, by that time she was quite a bit older and more experienced. And she's almost 40. Um, but she'll love me saying that. Okay. But I wrote all the house and planned all of that. She was my editor for that, and then she and I actually started writing books together after the House of Night, like Sisters of Salem we co-wrote, Moonstruck we co-wrote, and those we actually sat down and brainstormed together, outlined together, did all that. I think that they uniquely sound like me though a lot of times, because since I'm more experienced than Kristen is, my voice tends to be a little stronger. She's gaining experience though, and right now we're planning some House of Night stuff, some new House of Night stuff, and she'll actually co-write those with me and not just edit them. And we have like the proposals are done and out right now with
Oh wow! Oh
in
my
the
god!
stratosphere. And actually, we should know something pretty soon. I probably won't be able to say anything for a while, but and I can't really talk about it too much. But it is an origins book, and then we have started. We did the proposal for two adult House of Night spinoff books.
What?
Yeah, where it's 20 years after the events of Marked. And Shawnee is our main character. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
And
Oh
get
my
this,
god!
we're adding witches to the
To the House
canon.
of Night?
Yeah.
Oh my god! For what you took? What the? Oh my god! Please tell me you're gonna do a book tour in Chicago. Oh my
God, Chicago's actually the origins book has to do with Stark, and Stark went to Bourbonnais High School. You know where that? Do you know where Bourbonnais is? It's right outside Kankakee. It's not far from Kankakee. That's a little bit south of Chicago. It's like 2 hours south of Chicago.
god! Okay.
And I used to live there. I used to live in Bourbonnais. I went to college just a little bit south of Chicago, Governor State University.
I know what Governor State is because I went to Roosevelt.
Oh yeah. Well, Stark is from Illinois, and so he goes to the Chicago House of Night. So we'll be following, and we're gonna tell. I can't. God, I should shut my mouth. But yeah. So I would not be surprised if a publisher picks us up. I mean, you know.
Oh my god! Yo, that is mind blowing.
Well, and next year, starting in September, I think early September, all of Macmillan is working on new covers for all the House of Night books, and the first four new covers Mark Betrayed, Chosen, Untamed. The new covers will be released in next September. I would not be surprised if Macmillan doesn't tour us at least a little bit for that release of those. 2007 was when Mark was first released, so we're gearing up for like the 20th anniversary. And then of course we're in pre-production right now for the first feature film. So
Whoa! You dropping too much on me. Wait a minute. Wait. What
Yeah.
film? What?
Yeah. We're supposed to start filming right around the first of the year.
Because I remember the House Night series.
That unfortunately, the TV series did not get to happen because we started working on it in 2019, right before COVID and the writer's strike. So that really fizzled everything out. It also changed a lot of things about TV. And so my producer, the production company is Davis Films, but my producer is Molly Hassel. She also has her own co-production company. She signed on about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And once she signed on and she and I got together, things just started taking off. And like I am screenwriter on the project. I'm one of the main screenwriters on that. I'm involved in everything from choosing director to casting, and we have a couple members of the cast already.
Oh my god! Oh my god! To be a fly on the wall, my god!
Yeah, I wish I could tell you who they are, but I have to wait until I get the green light from Molly, from my producer, and their publicist and that whole deal for me to say anything. I know that we will start making casting announcements this, I think, in November at the American Film Buyers Festival thing in Vegas. So
I literally have been waiting my whole life for this.
Feels like mine too. I mean, we've been optioned since 2011.
Wow. So let's get into your books because you just blew my freaking mind. Okay, you just blew my mind. So what's your first series, The Divine Mistake, Divine Choice? How do you look back on those earlier works now?
Okay. I wish Kristen was here. She could be making fun of me through this whole this part. So my very first book published was Goddess by Mistake, which became Divine by Mistake. Then there was a pause with that series because I couldn't get the rights back from the asshole small publisher. It took me years to get the rights back. I had written Divine by Blood. I'd written the second book, and I'd had the first 50 pages of Divine by Choice written before I got the rights back. So, but I needed to pause because I couldn't get the rights back to the first book at first.
Yeah.
And write something else. Berkeley wanted to buy the Divine series, and when they found out it wasn't available because I couldn't get my rights back yet, they were like, "Well, do you have anything else?" And I was like, "Sure." I mean, I hadn't. I'd just gotten an agent. I had just started talking to the senior editor who became one of my very favorite editors ever, Christine Zika. She and I are longtime friends. She's on TikTok too, so if she sees me, hi, Goddess Editor. So it was really the Goddess Summoning books that were my first series. Goddess of the Sea, Goddess of Spring, and Goddess of the Rose, I think, were the first three. I get them mixed up because there were 6 or 7 of them. But those are my first books, real books published by New York. So when I look back on them, okay, so it's hard for me to read. I've looked back on Goddess of the Sea, and it's difficult for me to read that because that was my first New York published book. I actually had to rewrite that book 4 times, completely changing all sorts of stuff. And it's the weakest, I think, of all my books. I still love Goddess of the Rose and Goddess of Spring a lot. But recently, like in the last few years, I sold the audio rights of the Divine books, Divine by Mistake, by Choice, by Blood, and then Elfie's Choice and Bridget's Quest. I sold them to Blackstone Publishing Audio, and I got to choose the voice actress, Lorelei Lee. She is one of my very, very favorites. She does the Stephanie Plum books and Patricia Briggs, Mercy Thompson books. She does those, and I love her. She recorded the first 3 Divine books. I listened to all 3 of them. I hadn't read them in 15 years or something. I listened to all of them and I loved them. I think I was about half drunk when I wrote some of them because I always drink while I write.
Yeah.
Many years ago, I changed from wine though to I drink water when I write, when I speak, when I do any of
Yeah.
these things. Water, but I used to drink wine,
Hmm.
and that was not smart. Okay, because I drink a lot when I write. It's a habit. I drink, and no, I had to change over. So I had changed over when I was writing the Divine books. I was like, I wonder what happens next.
Oh wow.
No,
Oh my
they
gosh.
held up pretty well. They held up pretty well. Of course, I would change things. I can't physically read them because when I physically read a book I've written, I want to, I automatically start rewriting it. If I listen to it though, I won't do that. I'll just listen to it. So, if I'm, the audios are really good.
Aw.
Yeah, the audios are really good. I still like some of the Goddess Summoning books too. Um, and I have been going back through all of the House of Night books, starting with Marked, because in 2005 I started writing Marked in 2005. It took 2 years to get published, but I started writing it in 2005, and I was teaching too in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I was teaching there, and my goal, especially for the first 3 books, Marked, Betrayed, and Chosen, was to make the kids sound exactly like the Oklahoma teenagers that surrounded me all the time.
Yeah.
Um, so, and I feel like I did that pretty well, so that I could hook the kids. And then, I mean, I didn't think it would be a huge best-selling thing that it became. I just wanted to shine a light on the hypocrisy and racism and misogyny and hatred that permeates the Bible Belt. So I
Mm.
set a matriarchal pagan vampire society right in the heart of the Bible Belt, right in the heart of Tulsa. And then I was like, bam, let's go. And I wanted to, be inclusive and show kids that there's another way besides the hatred and racism and misogyny and bullshit.
Yeah.
And I needed to hook them first, so I sounded like a 2005 teenager. And Kristen helped me with that. She was editing my teen voice too. And in 2016, right before the 10th anniversary of when Marked was released, that was 2017's 10th anniversary, I started writing Loved, the first book in the spin-off series, Love, Lost, Forgotten, and Found. But before I wrote it, I hadn't written or read in the House of Night for several years, like 4 years, I think. So I went back and I started reading Marked. And I was just going to read the whole series real fast and then start on the next book because it took, Love starts a year after the events of Redeemed. I started reading it and I was like, oh my God, this is so fucking offensive. I called Kristen right away and I was like, hey, have you read Marked recently? And she's like, no, why would I read Marked? And I said, pick it up, start reading it. I do not and have not used the word retard in my vocabulary ever. But in 2005, the kids were calling themselves that a lot thanks to South Park. And that Special Olympics, if you remember way back then, and yeah, Cartman or someone was trying to get in. I don't remember the details, but I do remember what the kids were saying. They were saying it in their voice, and so I used a lot. I used a lot of their vernacular that is so fucking offensive today. I also did not do a good job of describing my characters of color, and I know better now that describing someone's skin like food is not a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, okay,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm a much better writer now than I was
Yeah.
then, and I know better now. And also, there was Zoe was the stuff happening with Zoe and Aphrodite and the Nerd Herd. There was a lot of slut shaming going on very early in the books that sounded exactly like the kids around me.
Mm.
But, and I used it, and then by the time we got to the Benedictine Abbey, and as they're escaping the house of night, when Kelowna rises and all that kind of stuff, we start really having discussions between Aphrodite and Zoe, especially about why Aphrodite was using sex to keep Eric, and why she used sex in general. But it took 4 or 5 fucking books to get there.
Yeah.
So I started asking in 2016. No one said anything to me. And I've been very open about this on fan forums and everything. In 2016, I started petitioning Macmillan, would you please let me go back through these with sensitivity readers especially, and update things. I won't change characters. I don't change the plot. I just pull out the offensive stuff and put in better things. So finally, in 2022, they allowed me to do that. And quite frankly, they allowed me to do that because a foreign publisher didn't want to renew licensure because of the offensive words. So as usual with corporations, and that's what publishers are, corporations, it's all about money. So when it became about money, even though I've been asking since 2016, I had been asking to go back through those books. They finally let me, and I have worked my way now through Burned. I just finished Burned.
Okay.
That's where Zoe's shattered and she's in the other world. She's with the goddess.
So will we be able to buy those newer versions?
Yeah, the newer versions are all, if you buy brand new trade paperbacks, the newer versions are all in the first 4 for sure. I turned in Burned just a few weeks ago, so I don't know if that's updated yet. But they will eventually, if you buy the ebook versions, they update those more quickly. And also they've been re-recorded too. They're re-recording them, audios. They will all be done. Although I can tell you that after about book 6 or so, I purposely dropped a lot of the teenage vernacular because I was sick of it. And also because I don't use the word retard or skank or any of that. I just don't. And so a lot of that was washed out because they were busy saving the world. Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't have time for this other nonsense. But I have gone through, I'll go through all of them. And like I said, they're not going to be, the plot doesn't change. The characters are essentially who they were. They just are better. It's just better now.
I like that. So the House of Night series has the most incredible lineup of books. Like from Marked all the way to Redeemed. In between you got Betrayed, Chosen, Untamed, what was another one?
Awakened, Tempted, Hunted.
Burned.
Kristen can rattle them all off in order because she used to manage a bookstore, so she can rattle them all off in order. I cannot. Okay, I'd be lucky if I could name all 12 of them. I know I couldn't do an order.
But you also have the novellas.
The 4 novellas go between the last 4 books. Yeah, and then we have the spin-off Love, Lost, Forgotten, and Found that I love, that really ties up a lot of loose ends.
Yeah.
I had several years to listen to fans and hear what they were like, but what happened with such and such? And what about such and such? And why the hell did you kill Jack? You know, that kind of stuff. So I created, I know, right? I'm sorry. So that I didn't kill him, Nefret did. So that created, that's why I created the Otherworld. I brought Jack back. So that's, and I bawled my way through that. The 4th book in the Otherworld, the final one, Love, Lost, Forgotten, Found is the 4th one, is my favorite book in the entire series. We'll see if we can outdo it though with the new ones.
I think Hunted and Awaken and the Marked are like my tops with me. I wanted to ask, how did you keep momentum and creativity alive across so many books in one series?
A lot of it was that they were publishing them 6, 7, 8 months apart, and I did not have time to take a breath. That's why it's really hard for me to remember the order of the books and what happened in which book. I mean, I remember what happens. I just don't remember, was it in Awakened? Was it in Burned?
Yeah.
Where is it? Burned used to be my favorite before I wrote The Otherworld. I think it was because I didn't have a chance to really step back from the series. And I quit writing all my other series then. I quit writing everything else and just focused on House of Night. And I just literally wrote one book, and then remember, as you're reading them, some of them start like literally 5 minutes after the action of the book before. And that's what I was doing too. I'd turn in a book, take a very small break, probably the tour and stuff, and then I'd go wham, right back in and start writing the next manuscript. So it felt to me like I was writing just like one big long book.
Yeah. You're making all of our dreams come true with this movie and the re-release of things, and you're just giving us all this to eat off of. We're enjoying this. We're enjoying this.
The
How
movie's going to be awesome.
I I cannot wait. I cannot wait. The reason why I say I cannot wait, one, because movie productions have got 10 times better from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s. That's one. So to see this book, this series, on that type of level of production, oh my God.
Right? It's going to be so cool. It's going to be so cool. And seeing all those marks, I've already seen the MUA has already started showing me stuff. It's so cool. Yeah, I can't wait.
How do you maintain longevity in fantasy and romance where trends shift so quickly?
I ignore them. I completely ignore them. The only reason I wrote House of Night was not because Twilight was, let's see, I sold House of Night in the summer of 2005, and I can't remember, I think Twilight came out in 2005, but I can't remember, I had not read it, and I really hadn't even heard of it. But my agent at a dinner one night said to me, in the summer of 2005, said, she was drunk. She was like, I know what I want you to write next. And when people tell me, I know what I have an idea for you, I'm always like, oh God. Like I don't have 1,000 million ideas in my head already. And I do. That's how I keep writing. But because she was my agent and we were a little buzzed, okay, I was like, what? And she said, vampire finishing school. She said, I feel like vampires are going to be big again. And I said, huh, yeah, YA. And she said, what's YA? And I said, young adult. And she said, no. I want you to set it like at a university with nasty co-eds and like biting classes and sucking classes and all. And I went, girl, I said, hey, how about I set it at a high school like where I'm teaching, because I feel like YA is getting ready to explode. Mm-hmm. That's as trend following as I've ever gone. And she was like, all right, write the first 3 chapters and we'll see. And I wrote the first 3 chapters and they sold. But I always ignore trends. And what I do is for every single book, I write exactly what I want to read.
Makes sense. You also write, what is it? I don't want to say it's paranormal because it's really not paranormal. It's fantasy.
Right now they're calling it romantasy, but I was OG paranormal romance. That is really nothing but what I write hasn't changed. I love fantasy. I've loved fantasy since I was a child. I think my dad gave me the Lord of the Rings trilogy when I was 9. And he and I used to read books together, like not sitting together, but we would read the same books for decades. I just lost him recently. But it's awful. But we would read the same books. And even when I was in the Air Force, we'd read the same books and talk about them and everything when I was home on leave and stuff. And he gave me Lord of the Rings when I was just a kid. And I fell in love with fantasy then. And then when I was 13, I picked up Dragonflight, Anne McCaffrey's first book in the Pern series, and it had fantasy, dragons, sex, love, written by a woman with a female with a heroine, with like, she led Lisa, she led everything. And when I was 13, I was like, you know what? If she can do it, I can do it. I'm going to do it. And that's how I set out. I always knew I was going to write, but I wanted to write what I love, and I loved fantasy most. But when I was a kid, I was born in 1960. I'm 65. I was born in 1960, and for so long, fantasy and sci-fi has been dominated by men, white men.
Yeah.
Whew, sorry, I was falling asleep there. And I would read it. I mean, I read it because I inhaled it. Heinlein, all of the Arthur C. Clarke, I've read tons and tons of it.
Yeah.
And I'd be reading it when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. I'd be reading it going, where are the women?
Yeah.
And where's the romance? Because they're procreating, so there have to be women. Where are the creatresses? Okay? What the hell? That's what went in my head when I was a girl. So when I sat down to really got serious about writing my first Goddess by Mistake, Divine by Mistake, to get the fuck out of that horrible marriage, I was like, what should I write? And I'm like, I'm going to write fantasy with sex.
And then,
in like 2000. No, it was in the late 90s, like 98, 99 is when I started writing that. And no, people weren't doing it. Paranormal romance had just kind of started to be a thing. Karen Marie Moning, and then who wrote Knight in Shining Armor? Is it Chris? Crap.
That Christine Feehan? No.
Not Feehan. Was it Kristen Hanna? No. Who the hell was it? Do you guys know? Knight in Shining Armor. That was like one of the very first. And then Karen Marie Moning also wrote, was it
amazing, like Scottish type books. I read her when I first, like, her and Lorelai and all of them. I was like reading them.
Yeah.
Angela Knight.
Yeah. And that's so I was like, okay. And I really didn't know how to tell a story from anyone else's point of view but mine when I started writing Divine by Mistake. And so I thought, well, hell, I'll just take myself on a real fun, sexy, just nasty adventure. and that's what I did. So it's embarrassing now. But the truth is, because Shannon Parker is a 30-something, late 30s Oklahoma school teacher who during summer break gets swapped accidentally for the incarnate of Epona in another world, in Partholon. And I literally just did that to myself. I was unabashedly Shannon Parker. Papa Parker is unabashedly my father. I put friends who no longer are my friends.
Oh, wow.
In that book. Yeah, they got mad at me. That happens when you put people in your books sometimes. Real people in your books. Yeah. I just took myself on an adventure, and that's how that happened. And then as I grew as a writer, I understood how to write other things. But like when you read Divine by Mistake and Divine by Choice in particular, and you follow the directions Shannon's giving you to get to Papa Parker's house, you will come to my father's house. Okay?
Oh, wow.
I didn't even know. And like a whole bunch of that stuff in those books was based on real stuff. Like, do you remember when Papa Parker almost dies in the frozen pond, saving the puppies? My dad almost died in that same pond trying to save 2 puppies that drowned the winter before. And he was not successful. He almost drowned too.
But you write so descriptive and realistic, so I'm not shocked at all.
Lots of based on real. My dad said when he read that scene, he said it made him sick to his stomach, and he had like goose flesh on his arms. He was like, it's too real. It was too real.
every book I've read from you has been very descriptive. I've never been lost from any of the characters or any of the plot. So it's like basically following instructions, and it's entertaining, and I enjoy it so fucking much. And the whole pagan aspect is so. From when you first started until now,
Mm-hmm.
what has changed most for you as a writer, both in the industry and personally?
Well, personally, I I never used to outline. I barely outlined any House Knight books. I don't know how. The only way I managed to not screw that whole thing up was that I wrote them so quickly back to back. I did start outlining. I outlined the novellas. I had started outlining about that time, but outlining for me was just writing myself a letter saying what I thought I was going to write.
Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You didn't outline none of the House of Night books?
Um, Love, Lost, Forgotten, and Found. The last four I did.
That's it?
Yeah. Oh, and the novellas. The novellas I did. But I don't know. My life would have been a lot easier had I sat down and outlined. But no, I would like the whole stuff in Scotland that happened because I happened to follow. I went to Scotland and fell in love and with a guy, and I had a Scottish lover back then too. Um,
What in the?
And so it changed the whole. I was like, ooh, let me put some stuff in from Scottish mythology. Oh yeah, I want to go to the Isle of Skye. Okay, I'm going to go to the Isle of Skye, and then I tromped all over and found her real name is Skaha, the Queen of Shadow, which my adult romantasy about her real story from the Isle of Skye, Skyatch, comes out next August. I told her real. She's part of the Ulster cycle with Cuchulainn and everything that comes out. Queen of Shadow comes out August 4th, 2026. But that all came into being just because of travel I was doing and people I was meeting. That's, yeah. So that has changed now. That changed because I got smarter and I got to be a better author. And also, Kristen is such a good outliner. Such a good outliner.
Mm-hmm.
And she's helped move me more in that direction. When she and I write together, when we actually write together, we brainstorm first, and then we divide the characters, and whichever character is at the forefront in a chapter, that's the person. If it's one of mine, I write that chapter. If it's one of Kristen's, Kristen writes that chapter. And we literally outline each chapter. She has this really cool spreadsheet thing, and we sit down and we outline chapter by chapter who's going to write it. And this is so good because as an author, how easy it is to lose your days in the manuscript. You're like, wait, is it Saturday? When the hell was the last full moon in this book? That kind of stuff. Kristen figures all that out. She has chapter 12, day 3, morning, and then she bullet points exactly what we should be doing in the chapters. We do this together, but she tends to write it up. We even sometimes put dialogue in our outlines like that. We do that in depth. And I don't do it that in depth, but I do outline now. I still write myself letters, but the letters are much more in depth and take a lot longer and are really long now.
I'm flabbergasted.
When I look back on things like the House of Night, I didn't outline the Goddess Summoning books.
What?
I didn't outline any of the Divine books or the other one. All I did was I always have the beginning and the end. And then in between, I have usually a few scenes that I'm looking forward to writing. And all the rest of it is just character driven.
Wow.
Even now that I outline, it's still very character driven, and oftentimes it changes a lot. I just turned in not too long ago the first book in brand new YA trilogy, and the YA. When I say YA, it's YA like House of Night, like my heroine is 18 and she's the youngest. Her bestie is like 22. It's set in Scotland, someplace I've been at a place I actually stayed at, and it's about Kelpies and the Fae and the Seelie and Unseelie courts, and it's so fucking cool. It's awesome, and the first book I just turned it in, and I had written in-depth proposals and outlines for all 3 books, and I wrote the first book kind of sort of following that outline, but it changed so much that I had to rewrite the outline for the second book recently, and I'm just getting ready to start it. But I still have like a beginning, always have a beginning, always have an end, and then I just have to piece together the middle.
Oh my God, you got a God-given talent. I swear to God.
I don't know where I'm.
So, do you feel there's true diversity in fantasy, in paranormal, in romance, and romantasy today? What would you like to see more of?
Books published by women of color.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. I mean, let's just think about like the amazing new take on the Arthurian legends in Legendborn by God, I just lost her name. Legendborn. I've read all of them, and I can't wait till the 4th one comes out. Shoot, Bree is the main character, and I love her so much. That's why her name comes like boop, right there.
Hold on, because
yeah,
this is Oathbound.
Yeah, I read them. Yeah, I can't wait till the 4th one. Yeah, because her character, that's some shit going on at the end of that book right there. I don't know how she's going to fix any of that. No, I just finished Junie. I know it's not romantasy. But no, women of color.
I'm gonna give you an author. She's indie. She's an indie author, but she writes dark paranormal, and she has a series called the Winter Moon series, and her name is Tessa Stone.
Will you text me later? Will you message me later with it? Okay, I'll make sure I get it.
Yeah, I definitely think that you would be like, damn, because Tessa Stone.
Good. I can't wait. I love finding new women of color. I read a lot of indigenous authors too. Mm-hmm. Like Cherie Dimaline is one of my very favorite. Everyone in the world should read The Morrow Thieves. Have you read The Morrow Thieves? And Hunting by Stars is the follow-up. The Morrow Thieves, it is, you have to get it. It is it's by Cherie Dimaline. She's indigenous.
After the
I will. She it's post-apocalyptic, and in this post-apocalyptic world, white folks, of course, have they've lost the ability to dream. And they figured out that if they take the morrow of indigenous people and insert it into their fucking bodies, they can dream again. So they hunt indigenous people.
Wow.
Yeah. It's told from the point of view of a young hero. It's YA. It's told from, he's like, I think when it starts, he's 13, and you follow him when he's a teenager, like 16, 17. That book, I sobbed out loud like 4 times. 2 of the 4 were sad sobs, but the other 2, I literally burst into such happy tears that I had to stop reading, clean up the snot, go back a couple pages, and read it again, and again was like, oh my God, bursting into tears. So good, so good. Rebecca Roanhorse, God, I love her. I'm going to lose all of my authors. I think that what romantasy, I think what fiction needs is more women of color. I think what our government needs, more women of color. Yes. More, and also more women, but white women have proven to be unfucking reliable. I'm a non-practicing white woman. Unfucking reliable. Just saying.
I'm dead.
I just can't.
So, what do you feel that the literary industry has lost focus of or on when it comes to fantasy and romance?
I think that chasing trends is deadly for fiction. I think it's the
Mm,
death. I think the death of fiction happens, and the death of good writing happens when you chase trends. Write what you want to read the most. Write what you love the most, whether you think it's going to sell or not. Nobody. I mean, I don't think Twilight was even published yet when I sold House of Night, and I hadn't written vampires before. I was like, okay, let's try give this a try. Okay, but I think that we need to. I think writers need to make sure that we're writing authentically.
yeah. Yeah.
And I also think that and I'm not indie published. I'm traditionally published. I have been published by a couple small presses before,
Hmm.
and all but one of those was a really good experience.
Hmm.
Blackstone is a wonderful publisher. Ben Bella Books is an awesome publisher. Those two in particular I really like. I've written for both and would write again for either one. But my research assistant just sent me, was it my research assistant? God, I don't want to get them wrong. Um, yeah, my research assistant just read an article that she sent me that I just started reading about traditional publishing. And I love being traditionally published. Um, but about how indie publishers are selling to and writing for readers, and how traditional publishing tends to lag behind everything because they're selling to book buyers. And I mean book buyers like Barnes and Noble and the big Walmart. You know,
Hmm.
how many times have authors been told, no, that cover wouldn't fly on the shelves of Walmart because that's to this or that. I'm like, the fuck is Walmart telling me what to put on my cover? Or telling my sales department or my art department to put on what? Walmart doesn't read. God, stuff like that. And I it's like, well, you can't publish too close together, which we all know is bullshit. Because even going back to House of Night, they were publishing me 6 to 9 months apart. And that was successful. And we know that indie authors are doing it very successfully. And
Hmm.
publishers that publish a lot of indie authors like Red Tower and Bloom. Bloom publishes Kristen. Um, they're doing it very successfully because they're publishing with less time between books.
Hmm.
And then we have traditional publishers who are like, well, sales doesn't like to, because the big accounts don't want to buy too many of your books together. So if you release every 6 months, I don't know if they'll pick up the second book. What in the hell are you talking about? Are they paying? Barnes and Noble? Walmart? Target? Ugh, Target? Walmart too. But what are you talking about? It's not them. They're not reading my books. These
Hmm.
corporations aren't reading my books. Readers are. Listen to them. I just had an argument with one of the editors of the Big Five. I'm not going to say who, what, where. I really adore this editor, and was like, because I want my trilogy, my new YA trilogy, to come out 6 to 8 months apart. I'll have them all written by the time the first one releases. Um, and I want them published close together.
Hmm.
And, well, the sales, and I'm like, who the fuck cares? Listen to the audience. Listen to the audience and overrule the old time sales crap. It's just like women of color being published. Listen to the audience, okay? Instead of the behind the times racist crap. Listen to the audience. And
Facts.
also look at the excellence. Look
Yes.
at the excellence.
Yes. I mean, we had in the indie community, we have an author named Jaquel J. She writes urban fiction. She broke records on Amazon to the point that she cleared everybody, whether you were traditional or you were indie.
What? Give me a title of one of her best known books.
Capone.
The what?
Capone. It's called Capone, the Delgado series.
Mm.
And
Oh,
she,
it's not paranormal though, right?
nah,
So
mm-mm.
I have to be in a certain mood. I read a lot of paranormal or and
Yeah.
historical. Just flat out contemporary, not as much. But I'll have
She's she cleared everybody from all jobs. She was in like the top 100 as number one for a while. You know what I'm saying? And she's an indie author. She's not signed to traditional publishing. And so when I hear how they do some the authors of color, women, and people in the LGBTQIA community, it really irritates me because who is reading? Who? What new people have you hired that
right?
makes sense. That makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like this old guard of oligarchy of white men sit on their high horse. They don't want women to be a certain type of color. They don't want women to be women. And if you are a woman, you have to follow their old playbook, and that is crazy to me. That is crazy because
It's
if
like
you
the rewriting of the House of Night. Me going back and fixing, editing through, bringing up to date the House of Night did not get fucking done until it started to affect the until publishers didn't want to renew. And then all of a sudden, years, and I'm telling you, I since 2016, I consistently, every time I talk to someone from Macmillan, I was like, hey, really want to go through House of Night? Really want to go back through House of Night? Really need to go back through House of Night? No one paid shit all attention to me until a publisher jerked on their money strings. It's so frustrating. It is so frustrating. And it's one of the reasons we're in this horrible mess with our government right now
mm,
because of greed and mediocre white men.
mm.
Mm, mm, mm.
I want to ask you, do you see yourself as a pioneer in this space especially for merging paranormal fantasy, romantasy, and putting that together?
I know I'm one of the OG for the paranormal romance. The pioneer part I consider in YA because when I started publishing, when I started releasing The House of Night, which is the first YA thing I had written, there was really there wasn't very much sex in YA, and I got in a lot of trouble for that. Do you know Texas banned House of Night books I hadn't even written yet? Yeah, I remember like I was writing book number 7 and book number 6 was out, and someone sent me a list that said the new banned books list. It had House of Night books like 7, 8, 9, and 10, and I hadn't even fucking written them yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Wow.
But to have like Damien and Jack and Nicole and Shaylin, and to have LGBTQ plus representation in those books, I had to push hard for that, and also I had characters of color, and I mean Zoe Redbird is a BIPOC, and so is my daughter, and we had all that going on, and I got in so much trouble for that. I had at one of our tour stops, and Kristen and I was like early, like 2010, 2009. We were interviewed by a young woman who was completing her master's in YA, and she said that House of Night was the spiciest YA to date published. And I remember going, how? Because I really didn't give that much detail, except that like when Zoe lost her virginity, we were first person inside her head. I didn't give like bodily details. I gave feeling details. So we knew how she was feeling during these hot scenes. And like everyone always, mentions like the bloody blowjob that was in like chapter 7 or something marked. You also didn't see that. I implied it, and you knew it was going on, but yeah. So I feel like I hope I helped to open the gates on some of that for YA, because now they're wide open.
Yeah. So who are some of your favorite writers in your particular genre? Those who inspired you or feel like creative peers?
Oh man. When we're talking about old guard, it would be Anne McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the old, I grew up reading like Kathleen Woody Weiss when I
Mm-hmm.
was like 9. Those bodice rippers with, the soft rape scenes and everything in them. I grew up reading those when I was just a kid.
Oh,
I'm
you
sure
can't
that,
say the R word. You got to say
oh,
great.
great. Great. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry. That's right. I forgot I was on the tickety of the talk.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of OG romance writers were, and then like Karen Marie Moning and Christine Feehan and a lot of the Melissa Marr.
Mhm.
Those and Gina Showalter and I have been friends for since the 90s.
I just
Uh,
got her new book on NetGalley. I just got it. I haven't even started it yet, but I just got it. It got sent.
and Cressy Cole. We've been buddies for a really really long time. Um, there's so many wonderful authors that have influenced me and continue to influence me. Recently, and I know I'm behind on this. I don't know how I missed her. Martha Wells is
Mhm.
a multiple Hugo winner and other big sci-fi awards. She wrote the Murderbot Diaries that Alexander Skarsgård stars in. Now the first season is out. And if you guys haven't watched, oh God, it's so good. Okay, so fucking good. He is an autistic robot. He's an autistic murder bot. He's fantastic. Totally on the spectrum. You're gonna love him. But I started watching those, and it said from the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells. I was like, what? Yes, Jude. I can barely see these because I don't have my glasses on. But hell yes, Jude Devereaux. Yeah, and Judith McNaught. Yes, all those original OG authors. I grew up reading all those. But so I looked up Martha Wells, and she is a prolific, amazing science fiction author. And I highly recommend the Murderbot Diaries. And then I went from those to, she has like 7 books of the Raxira, which were very reminiscent to me. They had the same feeling as Anne McCaffrey's Pern. Because Anne McCaffrey never called herself a fantasy writer. She always called herself a science fiction writer, even though she's creating these fantasy worlds, but she was very heavily science. And that's the same thing with Martha Wells. Martha Wells, her Raxura books completely changed my Kelpie trilogy. The way that she created and layered in the politics of her Raxura world, and I so recommend them. I can't recommend them highly enough.
Yeah.
Changed the way I looked at the politics of my world. I even told my editor, my fantastic editor at Macmillan, Eileen Rothschild, she's so brilliant. I even told her, I said, things are going to be changing because I just read Martha Wells's series and I need to dig deeper. I need to go deeper in this. And that's one of the reasons that I had to redo my outline and everything. But
Damn. So, how do you see the rise of indie authors changing the landscape of fantasy and romantasy and paranormal?
I hope that eventually the big publishers, the traditional publishers, will learn to pivot more. They'll have to. They're going to have to. They're going to have to wake up and understand that you can publish inside of a year. And also the marketing. The marketing is, so many indie authors are so brilliant at it, and indie publishers too are brilliant at it. Like, I have a front row seat with Bloom because Bloom is a big publisher of Kristen's. And so I get to, and Kristen tells me everything. Okay. I'm like all in it with her. And I get very jelly, and I'm like, God, that was so cool. And actually Boudica was my adult release this year. And Boudica was the an Iceni queen. She was queen of the Iceni tribe. It was an ancient Britain tribe. She lived around 60 CE. And she took on the Romans when they invaded Great Britain. At that time, they invaded Great Britain several times. And before that too, Caesar tried to and everything. But I told her story. And her story was so cool. She, the Romans did not like the fact that she was a woman because, misogyny, hello, Rome. And they tried to teach her a lesson about being too uppity. They flogged her, they whipped her in front of her tribe, and the soldiers, the legionnaires, raped her 2 young daughters. And they thought that that would shut her up. No, it pissed her off, okay? And she was the only person to unite the Celtic tribes and come against Rome. Her army was about 250,000 strong. And I told her story in my book that was released in January, same day as the latest Fourth Wing book. Not a great day to release, by the way. Another thing that a traditional publisher should have known, but not a great day to release. And the book has not done, I will tell you guys anything. The book is not done as well as I want it to do. I want more people to read it, and not enough people have. And so I watched Bloom pivot on some covers for Kristen. And they do actual tests of actual readers and not fucking buyers, readers. And a new cover did better for Kristen. And so they're pivoting. Bloom is pivoting, changing the marketing, changing the covers, doing all that. And I was talking to Kristen about how disappointed I was in Boudica's performance. And she said, I think you need a new cover. I like the cover of Boudica. I picked the artist. I like the cover of Boudica. But when I look at it objectively, I don't think it tells her story. And they also tried to market it as a romantasy, which is not. It's historical fantasy. It's more like Circe or...
How the hell did they get romantasy?
Girl. It's selling. So, no, don't know. So Kristen said to me, why don't you talk to your editor and see if for the trade paperback release, they'll change covers and make it look more like what it really is, historical fantasy.
Yeah.
And I went to my agent and I went to my editor, Rachel Kahn, who is a brilliant editor at William Morrow, and they sure did. They changed it. I'll be posting it. They're finalizing the cover right now. The cover copy, I made them change the cover copy because they keep putting in lustful bullet. And I'm like, it's not lustful. It's passionate. It's outrageous. It's amazing. It's not lustful. Yeah, there's some sex in it, but it's not romantasy by any, it's historical fantasy. That's it. And I follow history and add the goddesses in that they believed in, Adraste and Bridget and everyone. But so they're changing the cover copy on it because it does not work. And I said, change the cover copy. But they actually did it. So I hope that more traditional publishers, and I'll post the new cover as soon as it's finished because it's beautiful. I hope more traditional publishers will start listening to actually what's successful versus what they've been doing year after year after year after year. It is really difficult to get a traditional publisher, even for me, and I have more than 30 million books in print. It is very difficult to get a traditional publisher to do the kind of gorgeous freaking books, like the covers of them, the sprayed edges, the special editions. It is so hard to get them to do that because all they can see is immediate money. And they're very expensive to produce, and they don't see it as getting enough back on their money output, where the truth is what indie authors and indie publishers have realized that that's what readers really want. And they'll buy them, and then they'll buy more, and then they'll buy more, and then they'll buy another copy. So hopefully, and I keep pushing for that kind of stuff. And I'm also not averse to being published by an indie publisher.
I have over 400 books in here. within these 400 books, I have several, if not many, that have multiple
Multiple copies,
covers,
right? Yes, me too.
hardback, paperback, different covers, sprayed, all that. I have that
Same.
because I enjoy the authors, I enjoy the books, so I want every freaking copy that comes out.
Hmm. I listen to the audio. If I love the audio, I try to buy the hardback.
Mm-hmm.
The special edition that comes out and I love it, I buy the special edition too. Yeah, I think so many readers are like that. And again, it's this article that I'm reading about traditional publishers who they don't listen to the readers. They don't connect to the readers. They connect to the people buying for Barnes and Noble and the big places.
Yeah. So let me ask you, if you had a chance to sit at a table with the big five, three, whatever,
I do. I have.
and then you had the platform to go to bat as a black woman and a new author myself. If you had the platform to go to bat for black indie authors, especially women, what would
Yes.
you say?
I would say that I would talk to them in the language they understand. You're missing out on money
Mm-hmm.
because these books are excellent. These writers are excellent.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same damn reason that when I go to the doctor, I ask for a woman of color.
Mm-hmm.
When I get on an airplane, if I see a black woman fly in that plane, I'm like, good. We're going to get there and we're going to be fine. I know I know the privilege I've had as a white woman,
Mm-hmm.
but I also know the biggest stumbling blocks in my life have been men, and that I have had to work 3, 4, 5 times as hard as some mediocre white dude to get where I am today. I was so pissed off when you remember, like during COVID, like maybe it was in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
authors started posting what their advances were.
Oh, I didn't see that.
They were posting it on they were tweeting them. They were tweeting it out. I did not, but they were tweeting it out. And I remember I was watching it, and there's a male. I'm not going to say his name because I don't have a beef with him. Okay, and I think I'm just not going to say his name. I don't think it's right. But that man was published by the same imprint, the same publisher I've been published by, and been extremely successful published by. And he posted what his new contract had been was for $500,000 a book.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I outsell this man. And that's not what I get per book. Okay.
$500,000 per book?
And I outsell him, and I do not get that. That was back in like 2020-ish. I remember calling my agent. My agent said, please don't tweet what you make. And I'm like, I'm not going to, because that's not, so my audience, I'll talk to my audience about advances and stuff, but I'm not going to just willy-nilly post my, 1099 or my W-2. I mean, come on. But when I read that and I called my agent, I was like, you have got to be kidding. You have got to be kidding. And they're battling with me over this much money, and they handed this man that much money. I've outsold him and I outright him. Come on. So frustrating. So what I would tell these publishers is you are missing out on money, because women of color create excellence.
That is right.
Women create excellence. We are creatresses. I have had far more privilege than you have.
Mm-hmm.
But neither one of us has the privilege of a mediocre white man.
Mm.
So how about stop publishing them and publish us instead, and give us what we have earned.
You better say that again.
Right?
So, how much have book events and social media shifted the marketing dynamic for authors?
A lot. I think a lot. Social media, especially, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But also it's been interesting to see what's happened since COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Like right prior to COVID, so many authors were touring, because it used to be you publishers tour you. If you're traditionally published, publishers tour you. And they pay for it, they send you, they create the tours, they send you. So guys, if you want, and that's still true with traditional publishers. So if you guys want an author to tour through your Barnes and Noble in your city, contact the manager of that bookstore and have the manager of the bookstore contact that author's publisher, because publishers love bookstore requests. But prior to COVID, everyone was suddenly touring. I mean, I remember I was on my last tour before COVID, and I was at a bookstore outside Chicago. It's an indie one that used to have 2 or 3. Crap, never mind. I'll think of it later. But when they introduced me, before they introduced me, they started going over what they were having, who they were seeing the rest of the week, and they had like an event almost every night. And I remember and I remember being kind of, I was like, it didn't have a huge crowd. And I don't have to have a huge crowd to be happy. 30 to 50 people makes me super happy.
Yeah.
But I talked to the manager afterwards, and I was like, is this a typical crowd for you? And I think at that bookstore I had somewhere between 30 and 50 people. And she was like, yeah, this is a great crowd. We wish we could have that all the time. And I was like, but do you think that there might be a correlation between having an event every single night and not having big crowds every single night? And I think that was happening before COVID. Then COVID happened, poof, there was nothing. And then things started up again, and and the romanticy also was building. And then we started to see like more of the book events by actual readers who have, formed like the Fay Balls and all that kind of, all those kind of special book events. And I think that when those are done and done well, I think they're awesome. And I think that kind of stuff is changing publicity again. Yeah. And also, I think that marketing's been changed a lot because of so many beautiful special editions that indie authors can do.
Yeah.
I think that's changed a lot.
I think in regards to like Barnes and Nobles and authors, unfortunately, because we saw it with Tracy Dion, and we saw it with Nia Davenport and so many more. Barnes and Nobles will not promote Black authors the way they should. And when we contact the publishers, when we contact the managers and stuff, they give us a cold shoulder. There's a book by Terry J. Benton Walker. It is a paranormal YA. He is part of the LGBTQIA community. He wrote an amazing series. They only carry like 3 books. And he's traditionally published. And he's not going on tours like he should be. And they won't give us that. And the problem with them coming to indie stores, the publishers will block it from them to come to like the smaller BIPOC community indie stores. So we can't get them at the indie stores, and we can't get them in Barnes and Nobles, and they won't come to cities outside of New York and LA or Atlanta. So we don't see them in Chicago, rarely, and other places. So it's a tough battle. And even with traditionally published Black authors, it is an uphill battle. We be fighting, and it'd be the readers, because we're called to call the arms for our authors that we want to see, traditional or indie, but it's like they don't hear us.
They're only going to hear money.
But
we need like pre-order them all from Barnes and Noble. Pre-order like the next in Legendborn. Everyone pre-order them from Barnes and Noble, or from some brick and mortar stores, so that they start seeing, oh look, people are actually buying these and reading them. Amazon is such a waste of time for authors to. I mean, it's the only way so many things can get published. But God, if you can skip buying from them, they don't need your money. They don't need any of that. And instead, even Barnes and Noble, which is Barnes and Noble completely changed the way they buy and display YA about a year or so ago. It's difficult even for major YA bestsellers to, like, for new books to get in there, because you walk in, you see the same fucking authors and these same piles of the same books, and that's only happening because people are still buying them.
But the only thing with Amazon, just like a food desert, whatever is available in your neighborhood, you can only purchase. And that is how it is with Amazon and indie authors, especially. And it's not even just black indie authors, there's white indie, it's everyone. And if they're not traditionally published, a lot of times Amazon is their bread and butter, because some people can't even afford a website to buy their books and get them from Ingram Spark or one on press. So they have to.
It's a giant pain in the ass too. I mean, Kristen and I have done it. We've sold books. People are always like, sell books off your website. It is a huge pain. I'm an author. I'm not a bookstore owner. It's really Kristen does it better than I do it because she managed a bookstore for many years. But still, it's just Kristen and me. We don't have like staff doing it.
Yeah, that's been like the thing, and then it's a lot. People are like, I think indie artists are very creative because they do book boxes. You see, I have lots of them around here somewhere. But those book boxes, they sell them on their website. We be eating them up like that.
And all the BIPOC authors who write paranormal, anything sci-fi, Sista Sci-Fi, I love you can order from them, and they have special editions. They have signed copies. I just got a book from them like a couple days ago that I totally forgot I pre-ordered through them. It's like Christmas, right? It's like, yay.
It's so much stuff, and it's just transforming. I just feel like, especially indie authors and women authors, I feel like I get so upset, and sometimes I get discouraged, but I get so upset because the flowers that people are supposed to have, and you just know it, and here it is, these old wrinkly ass white men are telling them, you're not worth it. You're not worth my time. I don't want to give you a contract. I don't think you deserve traditionally published. I don't think these indie authors worth it. It irritates me so freaking much, and it's just, you just want to say, I wish I can go in there and say, y'all are all fired. Where the new people at?
No shit. I wish they'd go extinct already. God, it's like, come on. The only thing they're going to listen to is money. That's all they're going to listen to.
That's it.
Money, and also lawsuits, if anyone can, that kind of thing. But that's also just money. That's tied to money. But yeah, I will always be vocal about it. Someone just asked what are my thoughts on indie publishing. I think that I would be indie published. I mean, I don't want to publish myself. I mean, like a indie publisher, like someone who, because I understand how much work goes into covers, and I do have access to excellence in editing, and I have, because I've had a lot of editors, and I know that they're hireable on the side. So that's my biggest beef with indie publishing is I don't want to say this so that I offend a whole shitload of authors because it doesn't pertain to it.
Then don't say it.
No, I'm not going to say it. I think editing is very important. I think quality editing is very important, and it takes a while in your career to understand that quality editing doesn't always happen when you pay for it. Sometimes what you pay for is a yes person. And a quality editor will make you rip apart a book and rewrite it. I just did 2 complete rewrites of the first Kelpie book with Eileen, with my editor. I have not done that in so many years. I mean, major rewrites, like changing characters, do the whole thing. I just did 2. And that is quality editing right there. I have been published for a quarter of a century. I have more than 30 million books in print, and I just rewrote that damn book 2 times. With her. I rewrite it by myself constantly before I turn it in. But that's, I would like to encourage indie authors to really pay attention to the editing.
Okay. So if you could compare when you started writing to now, how has marketing transformed what worked then versus what works now?
It's all about social media now. I hate it so much. I just hate it so much. I try really hard. I'm such a boomer about it. God, well, you know, because I was like messaging you, going, "Oh shit, I don't know how to do this." Like, oh crap! I have a young person who Sedona is my hi Sedona, love you. She's my social media person, and I contact my daughter too. But my daughter's almost 40. Okay, she's like, oh, Phyllis, because she calls me Phyllis a lot. But she's not young like she used to be. She used to know all of it, and now, but she's much better than I. I hate the social media aspect, and you have to be there. You have to do it. And I only mildly disliked it before Trump, and now I loathe it because that means I have to be on social media quite often. And you know, antidepressants can only do so much. You know, weed helps. Weed does help.
Can you use that?
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Say puff.
So that helps. But social media, that's the biggest change. That you have to have a social media presence, and it doesn't matter how good or bad a book is. It has to take fire, or yeah. I think a lot of books are missed that way.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So if your body of work was a dinner table, what course of books would you serve to a reader just discovering your catalog?
The pizza. I think I think some of my books are like pizza. Some of my series are like pizza. Yeah. Not only is it a core food, okay, you need it, but it can be different from one bite to another.
Okay.
The Apocalypse book duology I wrote, Into the Mist and Out of the Dawn. And if you want to listen to a great audiobooks, Laurel Eileen, she reads those. She's so good. Into the Mist and Out of the Dawn, I wrote during the summer of 2020, and I was living in the hills of Portland, and it was the smoke apocalypse. With all the wildfires, right? And I was in a fire when I was young, so fires freaked me out, so I was completely freaked out. And then, you know, we were in the apocalypse too, the pandemic, and I wasn't able to write. I'd also just had surgery on my shoulder because my mare accidentally tried to kill me. But it wasn't her fault. I was in the wrong place. But I decided during that summer that I was going to write my PC apocalypse, and that's Into the Mist and Out of the Dawn. I set it in the Pacific Northwest with a bunch of teachers who were blatantly me and a bunch of my teacher friends, and I let loose bombs that had a biological component to them that killed men.
Okay. You got to see that.
That's like pasta, not pizza. That's more pasta, and I called it the PC apocalypse of wine, women, and that other W word I'm not supposed to say.
Yep. You got to send me all of this in a message so I can read. What advice would you give to new authors stepping into fantasy, romantasy, paranormal, and just romance in general today?
The same advice I was given by Teresa Miller before I was published. And she said the best advice she could give anyone. She's retired from being the director of Oklahoma Poets and Writers Center. She said, research the job of being an author before you do anything. Know exactly how a book physically gets from your head through your fingers to your computer and is edited, published. Know why you do or do not need an agent, and what they do and don't do. Know what each editor does, the acquisitions editor, the copy editor, the line editor. Know every aspect of that, because most people put on these rose-colored glasses because they want to create and be an author. And they think that they're going to sit around in tutus, perhaps munching truffles and sipping champagne until the muse just strikes them. That's not the way it fucking happens, okay? It is a job. It is a very difficult job. It's a very rewarding job, but it's a job. You have to be able to write a complete sentence. You have to be able to know how to format a book. And I don't mean physically. I mean Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, plot aspects. You need to know your craft. So first, learn about how books become books and what people do. I have had young authors tell me, I got my manuscript done, and now I need an editor to rewrite it for me. I'm like, girl, that's not how it works. Okay, that doesn't, no. Teresa told me that if you do that, if you know the business, you'll be one step ahead of everyone else who doesn't. And she was right. She was right. Way back then, I think it was 98, she told me to read How to Get Happily Published by Judith Applebaum and Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. Read those right away and get the writer's market and go through that cover to cover. And I did all that.
So what's next for you? New book signings? Tell us new series.
Projects. We're going to be at the Barnes & Noble in Puyallup, Washington tomorrow from 5 to 7. It's drivable range for us, and the store is having some kind of event celebration thing. So we're going to go up there. I am working on book 2 of my Kelpie series. I have in August of 2026, Queen of Shadow, my adult romantasy with the real Skyatch. Her name is Skaha. That'll be released then. It is super cool. I love this book, set on the Isle of Skye. It was way back in 200 BCE. It's so fucking fabulous. Oh, and Skaha, she is a kick-ass warrior queen. That comes out in August. Chris and I are working on a little something. And we'll see if any publisher wants to pick up the couple with just a few new House of Night books.
All the House of Night tea that you have been dropping has been blowing me.
And the movie, of course. The movie. We'll be filming the movie first of the year. We should be on set. I will be on set for the whole thing. I have been involved in everything, from hiring a director to casting to script, the whole thing. So
epic.
It's really hard. It's difficult. We're trying to make it Marked and Betrayed, the first 2 books and the first movie. And yeah, I know. It's real. It's very hard.
It's happening, y'all.
But it is for sure happening. It is for sure happening. Yes, we have a couple cast members right now already. I don't think they'll let me tell you who they are, but you guys will be very happy. One of the cast members is exactly who, and some of you guys, OG fans, will know. You'll be able to understand who this is, I bet. As I've been very vocal that as I was writing House of Night, I had certain actresses in mind for some of the main characters. One of these main characters, that is the actress we got.
Now I'm gonna go back and read. Now I'm gonna go back and find it.
I can't wait because I can't wait to make her my best friend too.
I'm going back and find it. I can't. Somebody. Oh hell! I'm going back and find it.
I'll tell you on the side. You just can't tell.
Okay. Now when I put the screaming emoji, I'm really screaming. I'm really screaming. All right. So where can readers find your books? Where would you, for new readers who never read a PC Cast book, where should they start? And where can they get your books? And how best to support you?
I have so many of them. Go to my website, pccastworlds.com, and take a little perusal there through my worlds. My books should be anywhere books are sold. In America, in Canada, and in many foreign countries. During the height of House of Night, I was in more than 40 foreign countries. I still am in a lot of those. You're not going to find a lot of the backlist on shelves, though. And so but you can order them through any bookstore. The way best to support me and bookstores and other authors is to order from brick and mortar stores. Get familiar with your local, even if it's just a Barnes and Noble, brick and mortar stores. And when you order my book, order a BIPOC book at the same time.
You heard her.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to do your outro, and then I'm going to say a couple of things, and we're going to get out of here.
Okay.
All right. PC Cast, it's been an honor. It's been an honor having you on Black Girl Tired podcast. Your work has enchanted generations of readers, and your ability to blend fantasy, romance, and deep human themes sets you apart from anybody. Thank you for giving us magical stories to escape into, and for reminding us that fantasy worlds can be just as vital as our own. So, on that note, y'all know my logo. Stay love, stay loud, and stay black on motherfucking purpose. Now, with that being said, I do have a call to action. A black book event called the Black Book Bash that has over, I think, 100 authors, black authors, well-known authors, traditionally and indie. They were being sponsored by Publix. Publix decided in Jacksonville, Florida. Publix decided to cancel 2 weeks before the event, leaving the bag for these black women to pay for it. Their reasoning was because of the climate. And the climate being that this is literature. This is black literature. So they pulled out just because of what Florida has going on down there.
Racism. That's why they pulled out. Racism.
And I want y'all to go to Black Book. It's called, I want y'all to go to IamCassieKelly.com. And I want you to donate to help them pay for this event, because it is important that our stories be told. It is important that traditionally authors that have put in that work to be told, indie authors to be told, and some of these amazing speakers that are going to be there. Plus, there are a lot of BIPOC influencers that are going to be there. Since Publix doesn't want to deal with black literature, we, the people, will deal with black literature, and we will support. So if you have not donated, please donate. Help, because this is thousands of dollars they have to come out of pocket. Casey had to use all her credit cards to fund this event because it's at the biggest hotel in